Wow. Okay. Lawlers, this is the Ekko for Beginners Champion Guide. We're in a practice mode here. We're just going to be talking about some of his abilities and basic combos that you're going to want to use in your games to really have a chance to pop off and assassinate some people. This is a mid lane AP focused assassin who likes to dive in and then turn back time to get back out nice and safe. So in my opinion, one of the safest diving assassins, where you have a guaranteed way out that you're probably going to be able to keep your deaths down but your kills high. So we're going to spawn a practice dummy here in River, and we're just going to pick up the first ability that you're usually going to learn in your lanes, and that's going to be your Q Time Winder. So Ekko throws out this device that when you go into a wall, it turns invisible. He throws out this Time Winder. It deals some magic damage. It's like a boomerang. When it comes back, it deals damage again. Okay, so it's important for the boomerang aspect because his passive here, Z Drive Resonance, is every third attack or damaging ability on the same target deals an additional 57 magic damage. So this is like a built-in electrocute proc. Okay, so not only will it proc on the hit through, but on the boomerang back, it's going to hit again. You're going to see every time you hit somebody with a spell or ability, it's going to create that ring around them. So on the way through, 1 ring. On the way back, 2 rings. If you auto attack, 3 rings, and it procs it, and it deals that passive damage. Okay. Also on the proc, you gain a little bit of move speed. So 1, 2, 3. You can see we're moving a little bit faster from that animation trail behind us. So again, this is really playing into the fact that Ekko wants to go in and then jump back out. So 1, 2, 3, and then he wants to get out usually. Okay, so that's your Q. You can learn your E as your second ability, and you can pair that up with your Q. So phase dive here, Ekko dashes, and then his next auto attack is enhanced with damage and a little bit of range. Okay, so there's 2 dashes if you actually consider the fact that your auto attack has a bit of extra range as well. So what that looks like here, if I just wanted to auto attack this minion, I'd have to stand right in this area here, right? With the phase dive, what it looks like is 1 dash and then 2 dash. So you can usually hit them with that second dash part wherever that circle is, see? And then it dashes to them, okay? Very, very useful ability. I would equate this to something like Fizz's E. It gives you a lot of mobility, and it gives you damage. It lets you make plays. It lets you dodge things, and just really have a lot of fun and skill expression with this champion. So when you learn these 2 abilities in lane, this is your first real chance to proc off a good trade against an enemy champion. And what that would look like is you'd E in, and then throw your Q, 1 more auto attack, and then you'd run out, okay? And if you catch them with that boomerang part of the Q as it coming back, it's just bonus damage, right? So E in, auto, Q, all right, and then you procced it, and you're just going to run away, okay? Depending on who you're facing, you can get more autos in and stay in the trade longer, but if you just really wanted to proc off the 3 attacks first, you're going to E in, throw the Q, auto attack, and run away, okay? It's important that you do it in that order, or it's going to be a little bit clunkier, and you're not going to get the abilities off quite so quick in order. So you want to E, Q, auto, run. Okay, it's also important to throw the Q as soon as you come out of the E, because you don't want the enemy champion to have a chance to dodge that Q. So we have a scuttle running through River here. You can see if I E onto it from a weird angle and then I throw my Q, I could miss, and now I'm not going to be able to proc it as fast. See, I still only have 2 on it, right? So you want to make sure you throw that Q as soon as you land that E, and then you get that proc off nice and easy, okay? And then just run away. It's like running away from an explosion, okay? Just run away, turn your back to it, let the boomerang come back, okay? So that's your basic trading, honestly. Your third ability here, your W, it's going to emphasize the ability to keep extended trades going. It has a bunch of utility that we'll talk about in a second, but really your core kit before level 6 with Ekko is going to be the E in, Q, auto, oops, and run, okay? Now, you can see before you get enough attack speed built into your kit, sometimes the auto attack animation is slow. So what I would recommend running in your rune pages, especially if you're new to Ekko, where is it? Well, it's not showing it here, but I'm running attack speed rune, okay, in my rune slot, in the first rune slot. So I want the ability to E in, Q, and get that auto attack off nice and fast and run away, okay? That's just me personally. If you find that you're okay with the animation speed and you've played Ekko for a few games where you'd rather get the additional adaptive damage, adaptive force in that first rune set, then you can take that too. Okay, so let's talk about the W here and some of the different things you can use a W for. So it creates this bubble, and people who pass through it get slowed. If you're inside that bubble at the same time as an enemy champion, he detonates it and stuns everybody for a few seconds and you gain a shield. Okay, so really good for team fighting and really good for catching people off guard, or if you're in those really tight situations where you need a shield. So what that could look like is you could E in, Q, auto, W, right? And you want to keep the trade going. Now you're going to get a shield and maybe stun them, right? So that's one way you could use it. Another way you could use it, because the cast range is pretty far, you can see, we can cast the W from Fog of War and then E in, stun that person, auto Q, do that same combo, except give ourselves the added benefit of having a shield when we get in there, and also stunning them to make sure that they can't kind of trade back at us. All right, so you could use it just straight up while you're in the middle of a fight. You could toss it while you're from Fog of War. In terms of the slow, you could toss it to an area if you don't want champions to follow you while you're running away. You can see the scuttle is getting slowed just a little bit, so you could cover retreats with it. Let's say there was like 3 champs chasing you from top side here. You could just throw the W here and just keep running. Right, you don't have to proc the stun, just keep running, it'll slow them as they go through. Okay, and then of course, because your Q slows as well, that's another aspect to it. It really gives Ekko a good ability to get out and get away, right? If there's people here, you assassinate someone, let's say, you're now going to run away, drop the W there so they get slowed, throw a Q behind you so they get slowed even more, E away, right? Like tons of mobility, tons of slows in this kit. That's why this is such a powerful champion if you're piloting it correctly. Okay. So let's, before we learn level 6, I just want to show you guys some of the mobility that you have with your E around the map, how you can go through walls and assassinate people, right? So it gives you a good ability to kind of move around the map and kill things. Now again, it enhances your auto attack. So anything you could attack with an auto, you can use that second dash to get to. So for example, this blast cone here, can we get this out of here? This blast cone here, if I was being chased again and I needed to make a quick escape, I could dash forward, dash to that. You don't want to jump backwards, but it's an example of anything you can auto attack, you're going to be able to use this second dash on your E. So let's say I wanted to use this jungle minion here to get away again. I could E here, E there, keep going if I wanted to. You could pull a bunch of different moves with it, right? So again, same kind of trick here. If I just dove and then I was getting chased, E there, and then just keep going, right? So a lot of cool tricks. You could slow them on the way out like that. You could put the W down. Tons of different things you can do with Ekko. Too many things to talk about in this video, but just have fun with these abilities. Try them out around the map. You'll be surprised on how mobile you can be and how much damage you can spit out in a very safe way. Okay. Let's get up to level 6 now. Let's auto-refresh our HP and level up to level 6. Now, in terms of maxing out abilities first, you're going to want to max out that Q first. It's going to be your bread and butter. It deals the most damage most consistently, and also helps you with wave clear, so you can start to roam as that assassin that you're going to be and really start to dive people with level 6. So you can see once you turn level 6, you have this kind of shadow following you around. It's on a little bit of a delay, but essentially it'll follow you around wherever you go. Okay, just 4 seconds behind where you were originally. If you press R, it transports you back to that location. Okay, now on the surface you're like, okay, it just transports you back. It's another dash. There's a few more things to this. On returning to your original location, you deal some magic damage, which is kind of bursty and area of effect. So if there's like 3-4 people that you ult back to, that's going to deal a bunch of damage, and also Ekko restores some health. So essentially this is a get out of jail free card. If there was an enemy champion, we're not going to have the damage right now to really burst this person out, but let's say they were at like 20 HP and I just wanted to kill them and get out safely, right? Or even like half health. I could E in, Q, auto proc, and then just R out, right? I'm really not going to take too much turret damage. And even if I do take a few shots, I'm gaining health back with the ult anyway, okay? So Ekko is really, really good at turret diving champions. So if you're in games, you're winning lanes with other champions, but you can't snowball, try Ekko, because you can just roam to bot lane pretty easily, roam to top lane, and force a turret dive very, very safely. There's not too many champs in the game that can turret dive with this amount of safety. You can also throw your W in preemptively for even more turret diving potential with the slow and the stun and the shield. So let's say I want to dive this person, I could throw the W, and then I'm running in, E, right, Q, auto, R if I wanted to. Okay, you might not even have to use your R. You might be able to just use a move speed off your passive to run away after you proc your passive with the 3 autos or abilities and just run out, but the R is helpful as well. Now, that's for escaping. If you wanted to use the R for burst damage, because you don't necessarily have to escape with it, you could also just R on a group of champions that you're fighting in a team fight. So let's say a huge fight was breaking out at Rift Herald here, and we're going to come into it, so we'll just get our shadow behind us here. We'll wait for the shadow to actually get into the team fight area, and then we're going to proc it to deal a bunch of damage. So Q, right? Let's just say we keep fighting here, we keep fighting. Now the shadow's here, R, boom. Right, damage to all 3 of those champs. Big burst damage on that, right? So you can use it to escape, you can use it for more burst damage to engage, and then of course, like super niche if the cooldown's low eventually, you can use it for kind of like reconnaissance really safely, right? So you could like, you know, we're on the bottom side of the map here, the blue side, but let's say we were on red team and we wanted to check out if the enemy team was doing Baron, right? Like we could run over here, we could check it out, we could be like, oh, I wonder if they're on Baron, could we steal Baron? Let's check, boom, 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 go over, try and steal it, bum, 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 and then R back out to safety and just keep running away. Okay, so really, really cool ability. Honestly, a very cool kit with a bunch of mobility. I would equate him very close to Fizz in terms of how annoying he is to play against. So let's jump into lane against the bot, try these out in lane in some trades so you guys can check out the damage, and we'll talk about some of the items. Alright, so we're queued up in our just custom game here against some bots so we can practice out some laning. I'd recommend you guys do the same thing while you're picking up the champ. Just have some fun with there before you jump into a real PvP game and potentially throw a lane in the first 20-30 seconds and have a bad time for 30 minutes. So we're going to take a look at the shop here. There's a bunch of initial recommended items. This will change patch to patch depending on what's strong and buffed and nerfed and his kit and all kinds of numbers. And also your personal playstyle. For me, I like the Corrupting Potion. I just like to mix it up with Ekko and Lane against a bunch of different champs. And I want the healing and the mana regen sustain throughout the first kind of 10 minutes of the game. That's very helpful. Also, if you build the... Let's just go back to shop here. If you build this item right here, the Dark Seal, on your first back for more ability power and snowballing, if you're snowballing, it kind of really has good synergy with the Corrupting Potion. So I generally like to build the Corrupting Potion and maybe on the first back go for something like a Dark Seal, and then try and snowball from there. Recommended items, really quickly, we'll talk about that here before we get into the lane phase. You can go Hextech, Rocket Belt, or Night Harvester. I'm a fan of Night Harvester. Again, this is dependent on the patch that you're in. I just like straight up burst damage that I don't have to think about. With the Rocket Belt, you have to use the active to really maximize this ability, or sorry, this item to its fullest. So in your games, if you're just picking up Ekko, kind of remove that, I think, from the start and just use the Night Harvester. Okay, so we're in lane. We know we're going to pick up our Q first. Last hitting with Ekko level 1 to 2 is maybe a little bit suspect. A lot of people, from what I see, mistakenly use their Q too early on waves to try and grab last hits, and it's finicky, right? Like the damage off the start is actually not that great. So you want to make sure you're trying to use your passive with those 3 procs and the extra damage it gives you to really get some of those last hits. If you need to, you can throw the Q out and then time it with that 3rd proc to really get that damage off. But early on, you know, you can push waves level 1 with Ekko probably better than most other champs. I'd recommend still, especially if you're a beginner, just chilling out, right? Like, throw a Q on the champion if they really want to eat a Q. Try and land that boomerang portion for the second part of it. And then if you need to use your Q to pick up last hits, especially if you're against a range mage, you can do so. But auto attacks are a good way to pick up the last hits, and with Ekko, if you want to have an easier time getting those last hits and timing them up with the autos, pick up an attack speed in your rune set. So you can see here, I'm going to throw out the Q. It's going to help me pick up those last hits and also damage a champion. That's the dream scenario with the Q, if you can get the last hit and also poke the enemy champ. Okay, so we can use that at range here to try and pick up that cannon, and then we're just going to time it properly to get that last hit portion. You're going to have to play around with it. Again, it's not easy to learn. You're going to have to put a couple games in or maybe jump into the practice tool like we're doing here, but it can be used effectively to push waves and grab last hits. Okay, second ability is our E, right? So here we can use the E to really get into the champion's face now and start to trade, right? Like Ekko picks up at level 2. So you can see 2 procs there. on the Q, she stood in both parts of it, so then we just E in, get that quick auto attack trade off, proc the passive, get a bunch of burst damage, and then run away with the passive move speed as well. It's pretty broken if you can just time things up like that and you play around the passive. Ekko's a champion where his whole kit really is going to play around his passive early. Once you get your R, he's just kind of a broken champion in general, but before then you're playing around your passive, okay? Rune-wise, we're pairing it up with Electrocute to get even more burst damage off of a 3 ability or attack combo, so it's going to be huge. If a champ leaves lane, you can use your Q like so to really push waves. You're looking to try and get those hits on the minions that have the 2 circles around, because your auto on them will get that 3rd circle and proc the passive, right? So it's going to give you an easier time to get some of those last hits. And then if, again, you need to disengage, you can use your Q to run away with the slow. If she wants to get feisty, we can move in, use the passive, the 3 auto or ability combo, get a bunch of damage with our Electrocute, and half health most champs, okay? So now we're level 4, we're going to max out our Q, pick up our W. I'm going to proc one more Corrupting Potion stack here. And now we can look to really use our W to help us out in trades, okay? So when you're jammed under tower like this before level 6, the only way you can really poke a champ is by kind of throwing random Qs off like that and trying to hit both parts and then running away. It can work if the enemy champ isn't really good at movement, but Ekko as an assassin and as somebody with mobility, you'd want to play a longer lane against someone. You'd want them to come up to here so you can dance with them and then run them down and kill them. So ideally, again, especially as a beginner, to keep you safer from ganks and everything, let them push. Save your Q for the trades. Don't really use them on the minion waves unless you want to and you want to push a wave specifically. But if she's going to stand there and maybe eat a Q while we're trying to hit minions, that's perfect. Okay, so let's talk about a basic trade now. It's going to be the E in, the Q, the auto, and then the disengage, okay? So we're just going to E in, Q, auto, disengage, okay? We're going to proc that off, get some extra move speed. We can put the W into this combo if we want to give ourselves more shielding and stunner. So just as an example, it's pretty hard to hit, but let's just try. So we're going to throw the W down, we're going to move up to her, E in, Q, auto, and then run away. If the back half of that Q hits, perfect, right? So the W there hit, but in general, in most lanes, it's going to be really hard to hit that W unless you're throwing it from Fog of War. And even then, there's a slight animation. They're going to be able to see it, so it's tough to hit. Here, we're just going to use our Q to push this wave in really fast. All right, you can see when we proc the passive off on minions, it really helps us clear them out. And then you can get a nice recall off that after you bounce the wave in. So really that's what I would use the Q for. When you've kind of won the lane or you're forcing it back, then you can kind of shove it in and get a clean recall off. So we're going to build towards that Night Harvester first. We'll pick up the Alternator to start off with here and then run back to lane. Now, we are going to run Flash and Ignite in pretty much every single game as Ekko. You might want to run Teleport in some games, but I think Ignite just gives you so much kill pressure as an assassin that you're going to want to be running it. So now we're going to look for nice solid engages on the Sivir, and we're going to look to try and kill her, okay? And if that means we're going to turret dive with our R, that's what we'll do. So right off the start here, I'm just going to E into her, and then I'm going to follow up with a Q auto, and then we're going to bounce away, right? So she's going to step into range here, again, Q auto, and we're going to step away, right? And then we hit her on the back half of that. Okay, so she's already half health. So one more of those combos and she's done. If we put Ignite in, it's pretty much over. If we want to tie our W into it too, we can throw that first, right? We're in here, E, Q, auto, Ignite, and run away. Easy, right? Now that she's out of lane, we can use our Q to push this wave in even faster. You can also use your E on the enemy cannons to really make sure you secure those cannons if you want to. But in general, we're just pushing out now, and we're going to try and jam this into turret, okay? Now, if this is a case where you don't even need your ultimate to kill somebody in lane, or they're just playing so safe that you can't get any trades off, use your Q to push the wave and then start to roam. Ekko is really, really powerful at diving top or bot with your team because of his ultimate, okay? So here we're going to look for a gank bot. We're going to use our W from Fog of War to see if we can slow these guys down to where they're going to want to retreat to. So we're just going to throw it kind of behind them, just generally in the area behind them. And on the way through, we're going to pick up that shield, start with our Q, auto. We're saving our dash in case someone runs away, right? Boom. Boom. Okay? So that time we didn't even need to turret dive because they were still so aggressive with their positioning in the bot lane there. it's okay, but if we needed to dive all the way into turn and get out safe, we could have pressed R after to get out. So again here, we're going to W from the Fog of War behind the Sivir, somewhere where we pick up the shield or maybe slow her. Once we pick up that shield, we're looking for a strong E, Q, auto engage, and then we're just running out after that, okay? It's tempting to stay in the trade with Ekko because you think, wow, I just burst this person out for so much damage, right? Like, I can just keep going. Yes, but just, you got to know your damage numbers to really stay in extended trades with Ekko. As an assassin, you want to keep them short and sweet. So E, auto, Q, and then we're just going to back right up, okay? And then try and catch her with the back half of that. Now, if she stays here, we'll turret dive her with our R, so we're going to use our Q to push this in faster. Boom, boom, boom. And if she stays here, we can just turret dive, okay? So let's see what she does here. So we're just going to run up, we're going to run up, we're going to run up, we're going to run up. Okay, she's now completely backed off, so that's fine. Again, you're going to use your Q on this wave and just push this in and get a nice clean recall. Now right now we don't have enough ability power that our Q is clearing out the entire backline with one cast, but eventually it will, and that's going to be really, really fun for your roams. Once you get enough AP, you'll see this in different points of the game, whether it's the 10-minute mark like we're about to hit now, or maybe 12 minutes, but keep an eye on when your Q can start to clear out waves with just one shot. That's when Ekko can really become a menace on the map, because if the enemy champion lane isn't giving you enough of an opportunity to kill them and get those solo kills, just shove the wave with your Q at this point in the game and then start to roam. So now, before we kind of assess where we want to go, top or bottom, you're just looking for anybody at half health in one of these lanes, right? Because half health, pretty much we can dive with an E, Q auto combo and just take them down and then get out with our R. So here she's going to give us the combo, probably Wing, right? E'ing into her, Q auto. We can keep this going now because we're so strong, we're so far ahead. I'm going to ignite her, and that should be enough to grab the kill. Okay, so once we push this wave in now, we're going to just roam bot lane like we talked about. You still want to focus on getting as many last hits as you can in lane. We can use our E on the cannon to help us out there. Use a Q on the minions if you want. Now we're going to do a quick scan of who's better to gank, okay? Top or bot? Bot's pushed in, and there's two people here. Generally, bot's the lane you want to go to, because if you successfully gank it, it's going to have a bigger impact on the game in total because more players are down there. But if Tristana was like 30% health, I would just go up there and kill her. So again, we're going to cover the retreat with the W from Fog of War. We're going to come in. We're not going to E yet because we're already behind them. Now we're going to follow them, and we're going to save our dash to kill somebody if we need to, okay? I'm following them all the way because I can always ult to safety. See? Ulting right back out to safety. I put as much damage as I can on him, and then I'm going to ult back out to safety. Alright? Just make sure that your trail is behind you far enough in a safe place before you press that ult. It's tricky. Some games you're going to have the ult go back into another enemy champion. You're just going to die anyway, but it's fine while you're learning. Just have fun with it. Okay, second item I like to build into is the Lichbane here. We don't have any gold to pick it up, but generally your core item set's going to look like the Night Harvester, Lichbane, and Sork Shoes. That's going to give you huge burst. You do not care to build tanky or like survivability with Ekko because of your ultimate. It's just already given it to you. So build out that damage, okay? This guy is crazy at assassinating. Honestly, one of the most satisfying things in League is pressing E on someone and just getting half health off of them from the burst from that 3-item set. Okay, so let's just kill the Sivir one more time here, if we can anyway, if she gives it to us. So E in, Q, auto. Wow, she dodged that by running through us. We're just going to follow her up now. Okay, she ulted to get away, that's fine. So now we're going to push wave, and then we're going to look for a dive, or we're going to look for a roam, okay? Early on with Ekko, you're playing chill, but you can see here, like what I'm saying over and over again, is look for the kills, look for the trades, and then push, and then roam, okay? Very important. If you can get plates early on, 2 of them are worth a kill, so do that anyway. But just for the purposes of this vid, let's roam top here and pick up some kills, okay? Now on the ganks, if you don't need the E to engage because you're already behind them, save it. That's a huge tip for your roams with Ekko. Save your E to get the dash. So see here, right? Like we're going to pick up the shield, and then I'm going to save the E to dash into her if I can't reach her with autos. Now, this Kale is still here, so I'm going to cover her retreat with a W. We don't have it, but I'm going to open with the Q maybe. Auto, right? I'm saving my E in case I need to dash to catch up to her. The worst thing you can do as like an assassin who's ganking the lane and you're already behind the champ is like using your E to get closer to behind them. Like, don't do that, because then if they flash behind you or they use their mobility spell to get behind you, you're not going to be able to catch up. You're going to look pretty silly. Okay, so save your E to catch up to them if you're already behind them. So let's see if we can pull off one on Sivir here. So again, if I'm already behind her, I'm not going to E into her. I'm just going to walk nice and calm into her, start autoing, start throwing my Q to slow her down. Okay, so cover her retreat with W from Fog of War. Let's see where she goes. Just walking into her, right? And then if I need to, I can R there. And you can see that time the R. Am I not going to be able to auto-attack her? That boomerang still goes even though she's dead. You can see that time with the R, we demonstrated the fact that if you are back on top of someone because you're in the fight for so long, that burst damage you get from it could also help you secure the kill. So guys, that's pretty much all we need to cover with Ekko right now. If you enjoyed the video and you're enjoying playing Ekko, definitely sub to the channel and keep your eyes on the lookout for the actual player versus player gameplay commentary that I'll post with him in a real game, so you guys can get an idea of some more of the advanced things that we're going to talk about and cover with this champ. Alright, but hope you enjoyed. I'll catch you guys in the next one.